Isn't Wonder Woman supposed to be a good person? I don't think Wonder Woman 1984 is a good movie. If it was just another forgettable superhero blockbuster, I'd leave it at that, but the warped vision of morality presented by this film is too rotten to ignore, an egregious example of the cracked moral compass at the heart of the superhero genre. Before I criticize some of the choices made in this movie, I just want to point out that I don't think the creators of this movie had any unpleasant intentions. It's incredibly difficult to tell a good story, at the best of times, and when you're helming a massively expensive blockbuster, a merchandise generator that connects to a larger franchise, certain elements get overlooked in the process. There's a lot of things going on in this movie, so I'm going to try and keep it simple, and, obviously, major spoilers ahead. Wonder Woman 1984 depicts our protagonist, Diana, in the same place we left her, still obsessed with her deceased lover from the original film, Steve Trevor, who died around 70 years ago, according to the film's timeline. Never mind what this says about Diana's emotional maturity, or inability to move on, that's the headspace she's in during this story. Hence, when Diana makes her wish, the resurrection of Steve is the only desire she has, and to be fair, the rest of her life is incredibly privileged and meaningful. What else could she possibly want? But when Steve is ripped from Heaven's womb, his soul is placed into the body of some random guy. A living stranger, whose consciousness simply disappears the moment his body is possessed by the former World War I soldier. Naturally, Diana is surprised to see him return, but she doesn't seem concerned with the fate of the stranger, not even a little bit. She simply doesn't care. In fact, she has sex with Steve, using this man's body like a silicone sex doll. During one particularly amusing scene, Steve essentially tells Diana that she needs to move on and choose a new man. He even points to himself, and asks, "What about this guy?" But Diana isn't interested, stating, "I don't want him." And then, they continue talking, like two sociopaths, completely unconcerned with the fact that this man didn't get to choose. The two seem more disturbed by the artificiality of Steve's return, rather than the non-consensual use of another human's body for sex, not to mention, the life-threatening circumstances Steve often finds himself in. Can you imagine if Superman did this? Used a random woman's body for his own pleasure, to bring back Lois Lane, or whatever. The fact that Wonder Woman, supposedly a pure-hearted, almost childlike figure of virtue, doesn't have an issue with this at all, is deeply strange, to say the least.